West Palm. That's bullshit too. They're doing the same thing to him they're doing to this guy. And this dude's a really good guy, man. You know, this he's really good. He does well. He sees over 80 people a day almost. His office.
Wow.
That's huge. I mean, he's it's just like, dude, it's all these people come to him and he helps them out. If they can't afford it, he lowers the prices and takes care of them. I mean, he takes care of the people. You know, he does his thing. He doesn't really keep records and everything else like all other ones, and that's what they're trying to hammer him on. But they initiated the complaint to get it to initiate litigation and didn't even send an investigator to come investigate the purpose behind the affidavit where the woman was saying that, you know, that the records and everything are all messed up. Nobody provided anything. And then and then he didn't know anything either, so he got an attorney as a result. And then when the attorney, you know, quit, the attorney quit on him, turned all his records over instantaneously. Way later found out the attorney misrepresented himself because he was a contractor for the same agency that was investigating him.
Wow.
And didn't disclose it. They didn't find out till emails later. And it was like, holy shit. So we got involved and started doing it, and everybody, and all of a sudden nobody allowed us to talk to the witness, so we were denied discovery, we're just denied all this stuff. And they hide behind their statutes, and I found this and I went, lo and behold, they haven't provided any proof of claim, they haven't rebutted any affidavits, they haven't rebutted anything. So they launched an investigation without having any probable cause, any good ground. Because he presented 3 affidavits to the very investigator who then went off to the attorney to instigate the litigation against this guy to induce him into seeking counsel. So therefore, they induced legislation that basically guaranteed another attorney a thing of value called a client. And that's how they're playing their games. And then if you go into court, they don't listen to you. They don't pay attention. They do everything against you. And that's what we've been doing. We've been like, all right, fine, you can do anything you want against me. I'm just going to sit here. I'm just going to give you notice that we're accepting it, and we're whatever you're going to do, and we're going to accept it upon proof of claim. Boom, here you go. Now do whatever you're going to do. And then you don't give me proof of claim. You're just going to get yourself digger in a deeper and deeper hole, because when the judge signs off on something, he guarantees that proof of claim exists, that the proof of jurisdiction exists. He guarantees. That's what his signature guarantees, because all that must exist in the evidence record. And they never have an evidence record. They just have a judicial record.
Did you go to law school? Or
no.
Okay.
No, this is all just, like I said, man, this is all my understanding of everything, how it's been revealed.
Like, you're like,
use of fuck, they put it together, huh?
But I mean, like, what you spending your most to accumulate this kind of info? You're reading case law, or
all right. Truthfully, what we did is back in the day, we found usufruct in the letter of Madison to Monroe, or whatever it is, Jefferson and Madison, and we looked up what usufruct was, and we only found 2 things on the internet. So we started talking about it, me, Yogi, Zippy, Minnesota Mark, Wendy. Rennie App, a whole bunch of people in the beginning, and I forget. I think Post Monster. Were you there? I don't know. And a whole bunch of people. I don't know who else was all there, man. All I know is a whole bunch of people, and there was nothing about usufruct on the internet. Nothing, except for articles that I was writing that started showing up on various sites. And I went, huh. And then one day something weird happened. The floodgates opened. And everything I was writing disappeared and was replaced by all this other fresh information. And all of a sudden, people started bringing it all to me. I mean, bringing it. It was
you said you were,
and I would just sit there and I would just talk about it. And I would just say, okay, if it's this way, then you're going to find this. And then we started talking. All of a sudden, the information was showing up as I was talking about it. And it started coming and coming and coming and coming. And I didn't study any of it. It just came. And I don't know how else to talk about other than it came. And we have recordings on Skype that I probably have 100 of them or so on a computer that I can't access. I can't access the hard drive. It's broken. It doesn't spin.
Oh, you got to do a recovery thing on it.
Yeah, I got to do a recovery thing on it. But we've got Skype from way back when, where we're in the infancy of this and how it was working and our arguments and discussions and what ifs and if this and if that, and we got questions and questions and questions. All of a sudden I said, fuck these questions. I just want the story as it's being revealed to me. So I started listening to the story as it reveals, and then all the pieces started fitting together. And it uncovered the defensive mechanisms that's been put into the national security apparatus since the Banking Act was put in place, and the bankers took over. Because there's a certain defensive mechanism that's been put in place since all this happened, and it's really, really interesting when you sit there and really look at it, what that mechanism is, and if you understand that once you've accepted Christ into your heart, you automatically become a foreigner to the nation, because now you're the kingdom.
Yeah, definitely. That's something we were bringing up with that letter was.
Yeah, now you're of the kingdom of heaven.
Right.
And now you're just an ambassador for Christ, so you're an ambassador for peace.
Right, and one thing, it's like you kind of, if all these different so-called movements and things only give about like a half to three-quarters truth in order to balkanize information, to only allow those who really ask, seek, and knock to piece it together, could it be that it's part of that is what do people?
Because what it really does, what it really amounts to.
If you just hold that thought, it's just the idea of like what don't people mention, and could it be that there's a very strong theme in the Bible of being an ambassador of Christ, and how come we ask? How come there's an asking of meeting the claimant that doesn't really exist, except that you believe that you are, or that you did make a claim? What about asking to meet the only true claimant, the only true one who claims ownership of all these things, and have him have you hold your hand step by step to lead you through this process and all that.
That's what we're doing. He that's who's leading me. I already know it. Is the one who actually does own all this.
Right.
It's not me, and it's not anybody of the earth. It's the one where the earth is part of him, because he has everything. It's the creator himself who owns it all. It's his creation. He owns it. Mm-hmm. Like I tell everybody, the most you have is usufruct of the earth. And I go, you know how I know this? They're like, how? I go, God can send an asteroid down here and there ain't a fucking thing you can do about it, but you are going to be the recipient of the results. That's how I know. You can't stop it. God can do anything he wants to this planet, and there ain't a fucking thing any one of us can do about it.
Well, he'd be justified to.
he'd be justified to do anything he wants. It's his creation. He's like, oh, I made a mistake. We'll start over. We'll just not a mistake. I got to tweak out the program a little bit. Now I got to let them cleanse themselves real quick and reboot the program.
Like I brought you into this world here if I could take you out.
Huh?
Looking at things right now, he might be thinking about that, right?
Right, yeah.
I think he is. Let's purge the insanity out of this fucking world, man. People are fucking nuts. I don't know how anybody can look at anything these guys are talking about anymore and just say, really?
Yeah.
How is any of that remotely true anymore? Where is it, man? How any of it remote of any truth, man? It's just accusatory crap. Everybody's accusing everybody of doing the same thing they're doing. Yeah, whatever. It's just their MO.
Yeah, projection. The one thing you were mentioning with the set off kind of reminded me to ask about like one thing that Mikey, Popeye, and I have been doing is applying this stuff to the credit card thing, where I mentioned a little bit about the 10 credit cards that I've been working with, seeing that they're discharged, and as of like a week and a half ago, called Equifax and I believe TransUnion, seeing the updates, and they did that. I have the recording with the girl saying that everything was deleted except for the student loan stuff, which I was expecting some pushback with that because of the the law change that you can't do bankruptcy with it. But one thing I was one
No,
thing
what
we
you
were
can do, you can novate that contract, and
notate
you can just accept it and give them a dollar money order towards it, and that will be your payment every month until they provide proof of claim. Once they don't provide proof of claim after 3 months, you cancel the contract
what
because
for
they've already paid
how
on
many
the
months?
student
How many
loans.
months?
You just give them 3 months.
So you
Well, here's how our contracts work. We do an acceptance for proof of, we do an acceptance for honor at par value and return it as consideration for accord and satisfaction. And then we accept any outstanding debt remaining for its value, and we give them a dollar money order towards it, a $1 postal money order. And the reason to do that is because we can keep a receipt of it. And we equate that to dollars as defined by the Congress through the 1789, Coin Act. Okay. So we do that, and then we give them that for this month, and then the next month is full dollar value minus $1, and give them so many days to provide proof of claim that this novation, that the acceptance and return does not constitute a letter of credit, and that this novation does not is not the governing contract, blah blah blah, that kind of stuff.
Mm.
And if they don't produce it in 10 days, they agree that any further action is barratry. Any further collection attempt is barratry. And that's our basic contract. That's how we do it.
Is there a template?
Is
Is there like a template? Because I've been using a contract, but it's not for barratry. It's more.
I mean, we do. There's one on the website under the CR discussions.
On I'm some dude.
Yeah, I'm some dude. CR discussions, and there's and when you get in there, there's the CR philosophy and process. And the process, I kind of put a couple of them in there, and we kind of go over them. And and then the second month, and then after the first month, the second month, you just follow up with them, going here's the second month's payment for blah blah blah. We haven't received your proof of claim yet. We're accepting your refusal or your failure to provide, and hereby extending grace period for you to do it for another 10 days. Or another 10, the next month. So we do it 10. We wait a month. We wait the 30 days for the first one to let 1 month go. Then we do the next month, and then after that, going, if we don't hear from you in 10 days, we'll assume that there is no further debt, there is no further claim, and that any further action shall be, intentional barratry with the intent to deprive us of our right, of the intent to deprive another of the intangible right received for honest services.
How long do you wait for each one?
10 days, 10 days, and then and then another 10 days if you want.
Okay, I'm kind of upping.
It's just basically do that, and then you put on another dollar money order. And what we also do is say the $2 provided consists of an overpayment because they didn't provide proof of claim, so there was no debt, so we provided a $2 overpayment.
So now we have to reimburse you for the $3.
We have been doing a $21 money order in the past just because of the right to jury trial and all that other stuff. Then we said, fuck it, we're not even going to go to jury trial because we're just going to take it into arbitration. So our contracts now contain an arbitration clause. That the only way we can get rid of this is if you're not going to agree to this terms and conditions, the only way you're going to agree to it now is we go to arbitration because we ain't going into court.
What do you? Yeah.
And the United States has recognized through the Supreme Court that arbitration agreements entered into are binding, and the United States will recognize them. The courts.
What was the thing in the forum? It was C what?
CRTM discussions.
And the other.
And then inside that one, you'll find the first one will be the philosophy, the other one will be the process. And the process is where I put a couple of explanations in it, and it's really simple once you get a hold of it.
Well, can I just share with you what I did to see what you think that it was basically the whole who's claiming these things, and then one of the last parts of it is basically it says when it goes down to the claimant thing and the real the one who's the other real party in interest but here's the part. It says if there is no real party in interest, then it will be considered and agreed upon that there is no such person, and any so-called balance charged to the so-called name will be confirmed and zeroed out, which will be reflected on any and all credit score reports. This is just for the credit cards in general, but it says it will further be considered and agreed upon that the close account will be authorized as an account close or write-off account, or however it's referred to, that can be used and zeroed out each month, which will be confirmed by you in the account notes as to the details on the account type and proper usage procedure for the account.
Well, here's how you can do. Here's how you can actually do that really, really good. Is if I was going to write that myself, it'd be, you know, if you can't provide me the real party and interest, then we both agree that this account is hereby abandoned, and I'm claiming this account for my use, and I'm going to surrender to you the usufructuary interest while I retain the naked ownership.
Oh,
That's interesting.
See how that works?
But is that kind of saying the same thing but adding more steps in it, or
no, because now what you've done is since nobody's provided any proof of claim, nobody's come forth, real party and interest, there is no real party and interest, so therefore the account is abandoned automatically. Nobody's claimed it. That's what proof of claim does. You can't come to a proof of claim, you just abandon it. It's mine. I claim it, and I assign the usufructuary interest back to you. Have a nice fucking life.
You assign the what back to him?
I assign the usufructuary interest back to the one who's making the claim.
Oh, usufructory interest.
Because they don't provide proof of claim, therefore it's abandoned. So I'm going to claim it and assign the usufructuary interest back to the one who's claiming it, who has control of the account. So basically, the American Express or whoever comes and makes a claim, and you ask them for a proof of claim, and they don't answer you, then you put in the clause saying, if you don't answer me, we agree this account's abandoned. And then I'm going to claim, I'm going to claim this account and assign you the usufructuary interest.
So then that transfers it from a closed account to set off?
To a usable account, because now they have to peddle all claims that come against that account, because they're going to be the ones profiting from it anyway.
It's just not gonna. It's just that they're not going to be paid 5-6 times on it. It's just going to be
they're just not going to be paid 5 or 6 times, but they're going to be the ones profiting from it. Why? Because the commerce generated by it.
Right, yeah, because of using it, that's what they get paid.
Because the one who's the intentional beneficiary is going to benefit, not the credit card company. The credit card company is just a facilitator of the transaction, okay?
Okay.
The one who benefits is actually the treasury, because the facilitator of the transaction is just a transfer agent. He's transferring the usufructuary interest to the treasury. You're transferring it to him. He transfers it to the treasury transfers it back to him, which then funds the account. He gets his fees, because those are included in the usufruct. So he gets his fees or whatever. His profits are secured. Everybody's profits are secured. Mm-hmm. And then you get the naked ownership of the account. That's what you're after. Disposal rights of the account itself.
Mm-hmm. So you'd use this with a student loan with the usufruct and the proof of claim. You wouldn't do the pay to the order. You wouldn't do the pay to the order
every thing. Time they send you a bill, you're accepting the bill, accepting it for honor at par value without notice of any adverse claim. Nobody's giving you an adverse claim to it, right? They've offered it to you. So that's a debt obligation. That's a security. So I'm going to accept that security without notice of any adverse value at par value, and I'm going to return it to them at par value, which turns it into a letter of credit. Because you're accepting a debt in your return, you're using that very same debt you just accepted to give back to them for credit the account. It's a letter of credit for credit to the account. Credit the account that much.
But you wouldn't you would rather do that for instead of writing pay to the order of, because of what? You'd rather do that than pay to the order of thing right on the back.
Oh,
pay
you
to
do
the
that.
order.
That's the consideration you're doing. That's what it is. Is on the front of the instrument, you write accepted for honor. I mean, accepted for honor at par value upon proof of claim. Credit to whatever account you're doing, and you sign it without recourse. Pay to the order without recourse. I mean, you sign it without recourse. On the back side, when you flip it over, you write pay to the order of U.S. To pay to the order paid to and for the account of the United States without recourse, and you sign your name.
Oh, you're doing both.
Yeah. You create the bill on the front. You create the money order, the order for the money on the front, and then you assign it on the back side. Because you have to assign the interest you just accepted. That's what your acceptance does. You're accepting that security or interest, whatever interest it's in any interest, okay?
Mm-hmm.
Whatever interest they're coming at you with is in any interest. You don't have to define it. It's some interest. It doesn't matter what it is. I don't care what it is, because I'm going to give them the usufruct of of whatever interest I have. So I'm going to give them the usufruct, the reversion, the usufructory interest. Because someone's coming to me with a tax bill, meaning they think I'm the usufructory, so I'm going to accept that for honor. When nobody answers me, I'm going to say, okay, fine, we're going to pay that over to the Treasury, so we just do that. You're just paying it over to the Treasury because you're the agency that works for the Treasury, but you're the agent that operates the agency that works for the Treasury.
What's the difference between doing that versus this way? Like Popeye, I don't know how you can make the distinction between the usufruct approach of proof of claim with what you were doing with showing me how to do the paperwork. I don't know if you're still there. Wait, Popeye?
I'm still here. I'm listening. Yeah, actually, well, in a lot of ways, it's a lot of the same stuff. It's just, and again, this is part of why I'm just sitting here shutting the fuck up and listening, because this is more in depth of what I'm trying to accomplish here.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I mean, and this is something that I knew about usufruct a little bit, but just going through some of the stuff on the website is more in depth than you get when you just read the dictionary version of it, so
yeah.
Very interesting stuff.
And I'm telling you, that word, I mean, it all started speaking to me, and I said, I mean, the Lever Code is a trust administration document, and you understand that what they did is they did for protection and national defense, and then everything changes. Everything changes. Once you realize that what's going on is defensive mechanisms, you can surf the defensive mechanisms right to the remedies you're looking for, because you have to act a certain way in order for them to work. A lot of people get spotty ifs, remedies, and this and that because of their, because they know how to argue or defend or work what they're doing. This right here, man, holy shit, this is so fucking easy. You just give me proof of claim, and I'll do whatever the hell. Like I told that string. This is why I say that poor string. The last sentence I said to her, and I feel kind of bad for it, but I was just been asking for proof of claim for 9 years from these people. All right, and I mean, for 9 years they had a hold, and I couldn't do shit, because of everything going on. And this is why I learned all this. I had nothing else to do. And this is my life. That's what was my life at the time, was dealing with that. And it just started flowing one day, like I said. But the last thing I said to the shrink is like, I don't know what y'all's problem is. You're all making me trespass against the claims of God. But if y'all would just provide proof of claim, you can shove red hot pokers up my ass all day long. That's all I want is proof of claim. And she started walking faster and faster away from me as we were walking down the hall. Like, wow. Nobody just wants to give me proof of a claim.
So proof of a claimant versus proof of a claim, but
proof of a claim, it's all the same thing.
It's all the same thing, pretty much. But I guess it's a different angle. It sounds like where there's more steps.
What it is either they have proof of claimant or proof of claimant. It's irrelevant, because the absence of it is what deprives the intangible right to receive honest services that everybody possesses. Okay, that's an intangible right that everybody possesses that the government protects. And they're using the mail and the court wires and everything else to do it. That's all scheme to defraud. It's called wire fraud. It's called mail fraud. It's called fraud. I mean, it's called a fraud and swindle. You're being shanghaied and hoodwinked into bullshit. And then all these shenanigans are all fucking playing. You know, it's just got to stop.
How funny it is. Well, how funny it is too, because like I said, I'm dealing with this so-called probation thing, and the other day when they were trying to set up the so-called appointment for them to come by and check the lair and all, and they started to threaten, and I put it right back in their face, and how funny it was that they ran away from it because they said something about, well, if you don't like this, we can put you back in front of the judge. I said, do that. Let's go back in front of the judge right now.
Yeah.
And let's go back right in front of the judge. And they turned and ran from that.
Yeah.
How funny it is.
Yeah.
And of course,
it's funny because you've accepted and returned and everything else. So really anything they're doing right now is all instigation of litigation when they say that.
Mm-hmm.
Because they're inciting you to go seek the judge. In other words, go seek a legal counsel, go get legal advice, do something like that because a judge is a member of the bar.
Right.
And it's really funny when you start, we get weird reactions. Everybody's like, is this normal reaction? I go, what? They're like that. The prosecutors, oh yeah, they punt usually the first couple times you do it.
I think she probably passed out or something, but Zoe had the thing with the car got repossessed or something. It was the mate at the time, the car, and they're bugging her. They're calling her and tracking her down and stuff and trying to get her to so-called pay for whatever the remaining amount was. I don't know. It's like 16,000, something like that. But like, what would be a good way you think?
Oh, you just take their offer, whoever's they are. I don't know who it is. The finance company, or they sell the debt already.
I'm not sure.
It doesn't matter. What you do is you just accept it all for honor at par value, and return it return it at par value or for par value as accord and satisfaction upon proof of claim sworn under penalty of perjury.
So you're doing the same money order thing on the front of the thing, and then
that's it.
The back, and then you're adding
we have a simple way of just doing it. Is I'll see if I can find it again on my documents here, but it's basically cool. We just accept it for honor at par value, and then you sign it, without recourse. And we want the credit to go back to the account in the all capital letter name, and then or charge the same to that with credit to go to whoever, and on the backside we pay to the order of treasury with cash value going back to the account. So basically, we're trying to cash out the security as we're doing it, to put it as a cash value item. And we then get them to rebut it because, truth be told, they can't go into court over a security you issued because only the commissioner of the SEC can make those decisions. The commission, the board of commission. Mm-hmm. So, and all these mortgages and all this other shit, truthfully, are in the wrong court. I think they all belong in the SEC one to determine the validity of the security, because you have all these states saying that they can submit an affidavit of lost note. I'll bet if you went in and challenged that as admitting a bill of credit, you'd win.
A bill of what?
If they did an affidavit of lost note and treated it as if it was a security, the note itself, I believe that's called admitting a bill of credit.
Popeye, do you follow that?
I understand the words. I'm just not very familiar with.
Well, admitting a bill of credit would be against the Constitution, Article 1, Section 10, Clause 1 of the Federal Constitution. No state is allowed to emit bills of credit. So what they're doing is, since the note is lost, they're treating an affidavit as if it were the note. That's a bill of credit. Because they're saying that affidavit has the same value.
Okay. Yeah.
All right.
Oh, okay.
That's the
Yeah.
same value as a note. Come on, man.
Huh.
If that's the case, I can give an affidavit of a lost $100 to pay a bill.
Right.
Right?
Yeah, exactly. I mean, that's exactly what you're saying.
I mean, that's equality under law. So I should be able to say, well, Your Honor, I lost my security in the amount of this on this date, and I'm going to give you an affidavit of the lost note. That should be good enough. If that's good enough for him, it's good enough for me. So let's just settle off that matter. Right?
Yeah.
Good for the goose, good for the gander.
But like guys say, the pendulum swings all directions.
That's right, baby. Turnabout's always fair play. What's good for the goose is good for the gander. And let the pendulum swing, because eventually it's going to hit all points on the circle.
Goddamn Skippy, that's the way I like to look at it. And if it's not going your way 1 second, just wait a second. It's going to go for your way pretty soon here. I love the way you think, Boris.
Yep.
I love the way you think, bro.
Boris, I love
that's
your.
why,
that's
why, it's just one of those things. This is where I end up. I mean, I love bats and all. I love them to death. And if it wasn't for him, I wouldn't be here. And the core of what we learned with him still remains. I don't know about Mark. I mean, Mark, I think, went off the deep end somehow.
Mark?
Yeah, Minnesota Mark. Crazy Mark. He went off on the deep end somehow. I don't know what happened to him.
So,
Oh, sorry.
I don't know. Maybe he got the security bug. Like all the other guy, like that other guy on the forums. There was swears the Security Act is the end all be all.
Well, the interesting thing, Boris, is
I'm like, wait till it all comes called in due. Come on, guys.
Right.
It's all been put off to a future date, and that future date is coming.
The interesting thing is, like I said, I haven't been into this for too very long. I really started learning all this stuff about 4.5, almost 5 years ago, when I was chucked in a cage here in California for doing something that was allegedly legal for me to do, which was to grow flour for my back and other things. And so
you're using God's green earth, and they decided to punish you for it.
Exactly. And so it literally, at the time of within about 45 minutes of being released from my first little stint in jail, which was about a 7 or 8 day, something like that stint, I decided I was going to go to law school and figure out how to beat them at their own game. And I was learning at the same time everything I could inside school and everything I could outside of schools. And that was first starting with the pre-law degree, and I'm now actually in law school, and still same thing, learning everything I can inside and out.
Yeah.
And I utilized, in fact, it was funny, I utilized everything I could from outside school in class every chance I possibly could, and literally built a reputation where the professors stopped debating with me. About halfway through the third year, professors that didn't even know me already were like, nope, I already know about you, Popeye. We can talk in the emails, but we're not doing this in class.
Because they're not gonna, because these lawyers aren't taught the law.
No, they're not, and that's the interesting thing.
I mean, they're not taught law.
They're taught how to remember rules, certain rules, and that's about it. And it's really very interesting. In fact, one of the most interesting parts of it, I'm now in my second semester of law school, like I said, and through the first semester, the whole basis of batology really came to fruition in that there isn't any one specific writing. It's just a lot of little things that they say here, say there, say here, say there, all over the place. It's like fractured glass in the bottom of a murky pool. You have to know what you're looking for.
Yeah.
And once you start to see it, is it all over the place. And they don't ever, and they never point it out in class. And in fact, when I tried to point it out, the professors walk away from it.
Yeah, they don't want to see the foolish and folly in what they're teaching.
No.
Because that's what they're teaching. They're teaching a bunch of fools to protect special interests.
In fact, one of my biggest ones is always this so-called thing called the duty to protect. In fact, interestingly enough, this is something that Mark Stevens likes to talk about in his so-called NSP shits and all that. But it happens to be the one part that is really the whole so-called contractual nature of the whole thing that they're basing everything on. They being the courts and so-called powers that be, and that is that there is this duty to protect, and in order for that contract to be complete, for there to be the mutual assent, there has to be then the duty of allegiance, essentially creating the citizen that we're supposed to follow the so-called rules. But automatically, though, and this is the big key, it was talked about right now. In fact, in the actual module that I'm in for torts, they're talking about the duty to protect and how there isn't any duty to protect anybody on an individual basis. But I made this argument with my last professor in pre-law about, well, how could there be a duty to protect the community at large if there's never a duty to protect any one individual? And doesn't that just completely demolish then the contract? Well, she had all this shit to say, and ultimately my basis of it was, well, isn't this kind of like the same philosophy that everybody must do what's good for the group? But the problem is, isn't a group just a simple concept that there is no such thing as a group, that there's only individuals? And at that point, wouldn't the only thing that is ever be good for the group would be protection of the rights of the individual? She didn't want to fucking dodge that one with a 10-foot
That's the problem that they're having, is because they're not teaching that, because they're teaching a bunch of communist fuckers. They're only teaching that side of the equation, the socialistic, communistic side.
Right.
The other side of the equation, because the other side of the equation isn't profitable. And there's a maxim of law that does read, if charity is not made profitable, then corruption will reign. So that's what's going to happen with the reboot, is the charitable side of the equation will finally be entered into the equation. So the more you give and the more you do, the more you live as if you were rich.
Right.
But you don't need the money. Okay? So you'll live, the same way as everybody else. The only difference is what you need to do, what you're doing, is going to be provided for, because the intended beneficiary, as a result of the registration of the birth event, is getting its benefit called usufruct, which then it will license out via this thing called money. That's what the intended recipient's supposed to do. We, as the naked owner, get the same resources that everybody else, everybody access to it. The only thing is we get naked ownership of everything in order to build more usufruct for the state to have to license out via money. That's what's going to give it its wealth, and that's what's going to create the asset-backed economy, is going to be the people who do their thing, who do that contract, who make that contract coming up. And that's going to be done by claiming those securities. Instead of going out there and spending them, you're claiming them and giving them all to the treasury so they can go out and profit from it. And you'll be granted security of person through your naked ownership of the earth, which is God's true inheritance. So you'll get dominion, as we were promised. But it all depends on what tree we decide to be usufruct of, the tree of life, where you have everlasting life and access to the covenants, or the tree of good and evil, which is death, or the opposite, which is no access to the covenants, and you're under the curse. That's exactly what Malachi 7:3, Malachi 3:7-11 discusses. So that's where we are. That's what Boris has been up to. That's why I'm not on the forums. That's why I'm not on the forums too much because I ain't gonna talk securities with people. I care less. That fucking
But I
shit
must
is
say,
like
brother,
slavery. Huh?
I was just gonna say though, the mind is reeling in the load of information you have dumped. It has
Yeah.
been awesome, brother. I truly appreciate everything you have
Like I
laid
say,
out.
man, I haven't talked to y'all in a while, so we're just gonna give you the update.
No, it's great shit, brother. And particularly
That's
for
why I haven't been on the forums, man. I mean, all I care about is, proof of claim, or it's false profit and gain by false witness. And now you're a sinner. And the Jesuits who built this system, who put it all together, whoever the hell put this thing together for the blueprint they were following, created a system that's designed to do one thing, and that's monetize the sins of the sinner. That's
So
what
they
they
can pay.
created. They didn't create it. They didn't create a government for saints because saints don't need to be governed.
Right.
there you go.
They created a society for sinners because that generates the most profit. If you've ever met a saintly person, they're a fucking pain in the ass to get along with. That's what they found out, that the truly saintly ones are just a pain in the ass to deal with. Because they're just always,
Asking questions.
always above, and they're just asking questions, and they just never do. They just ask questions. Goes, are you sure this is? But I'm just like one of the guys. Let's just do this, man. Let's just fucking go for it. Let's see what happens. And now
Well,
I'm on the verge of we've done some things over the years that people would never believe if we told them. They would never believe it. I'm amazed at what I've been a part of over certain things, man. It's just been amazing, and it's all coming to fruition, coming to 6, and it all kicks off.
Well, one of the interesting. I'm sorry. I thought you were done. I was just going to say one of the interesting parts of the conversation that I had with this so-called probation officer a while back. He kept trying to get me to make admissions and confessions to something called money and payment and all this. Like I said, after I did the accepted for value, and at one point he asked me, well, who owns the clothes on your back? I looked him square in the eye and I said, I'm led to believe God. There was nothing but 10 seconds of silence, and then this fucker ran from that conversation.
Yeah, God owns everything, man. I mean, I don't own shit. God owns it. The only reason I have is by His good graces.
Yep.
That's it. He giveth, He can take it away.
There it is.
I'm led to believe Zoe might have a question about something.
Oh, go ahead.
Zoe, you there?
Okay, yes. Yeah, thank you so much. I've been very interested in listening to everything you've said. I'm pretty lost because I'm new to this, but really blown away by everything you've been saying. I guess my current situation is there are some creditors that are after me. One of them, as Dominic mentioned, has to do with a car that was repossessed over a year ago. And
now, is it the same one you had the original you signed off on, or is it someone else?
do you mean the same car or?
Yeah, no, the same creditor, or is it someone else? Did they switch another one? Did I give it to someone else?
I think they gave it to somebody else. I think it started with for credit, and then after a few months, I think it went to a third party. And I had been asked to show up to court back in October in Tennessee, Nashville, Tennessee, and I never did because I actually had moved out of state. And it was really inconvenient for me to go back just for that. So I just never responded and never showed up. And I don't really know what's going on because I haven't even updated my address with the court. I've been just kind of like running away and hiding. But that's it. And then similar situation is with the student loans. You know, which I was in so-called good standing up to, I would say, 5 months ago.
All right. Okay. All this is the same thing. So it's all going to be you
Yeah.
take whatever they give you and you just accept it for its value at par level. Now, there is another way if you have the way to do it. There is a guy. Oh, you do get if you can get the QSIP number. And I know this is gonna sound funny, but you get the
I'm sorry.
QSIP number and you get the order, the final order, and you go fill out a UCC1 with your individual as the debtor. I mean, it's a secured party, and the all capital name is the debtor, and they'll both have the same address. And then you accept the judgment and the QSIP number, and then you assign it all over to the United States. And then you come in with a letter telling them that you hold a shred of reversion, which you've assigned over to the United States, as evidenced by the UCC filing, which creates a property interest under the penal law, which then that you transferred over for performance under 31 USC 3113B, and now you're immune from prosecution because Title 50 4035A. I mean 50 USC 4035B2. And I know that works because a guy I know has done it, and it was actually pretty slick. I thought it was pretty cool. It works because they come at you with whatever claim they're coming at you with when you hold a shred of reversion by their very testimony of giving you the bill.
Can you explain what shred of reversion is?
A reversionary interest means that it's that part that can revert back to the owner or grantor. And that's what they're doing is they're saying that you hold the reversion, and if you hold more than 5% of the value, it automatically treats you as the owner. So you're treated as if you're the owner, and the owner always gets the bill. So what you do is say, no. The only reason on the reversion is because the birth certificate's an infancy. It's an incomplete delivery of an interest. So therefore, it goes to the United States, but always reverts back to you when the claim is made. That's what happens when they do that name thing. They're invoking the reversionary interest. So what you do is you have to shed that reversion, and you give it back to the United States via the assignment. And that's what the UCC did. You accept everything and surrender it back over the United States. And the UCC one's the notice of a claim from someone whose claim was never registered. And that's as good as if it were there the day it was done. That's under equity. If you look under Pomeroy or something like that, it's Pomeroy on equity. And it's a well-founded fact that the courts are going to treat it that way. Like I said, it's not my rules, it's theirs. I'm just operating under what they're telling me they're going to think. And I'm like, all right, that's what you're going to do. That's what you're going to do. All I have to do is show this. It's like honest services, man. All I got to show is our deprived of honest services. All right, where's proof of claim? Oh, you don't have it. It was just deprived honest services from you.
I have a similar background with Popeye, minus the law school, and that sounded complicated to me.
It's really, to me, it's real simple. But basically that's what you're doing when you accept and return to these guys. They're debt collectors. They're actually agents for the Treasury. They're supposed to be returning that as a prepaid tax return on their taxes to the Treasury in exchange for a credit.
Are you talking about the 1099 OID?
Are
you talking about the 1099 OID process?
They're supposed to be doing all that paperwork shit, not me.
Not you.
I just give them the instrument that comps it. Like I went to the restaurant that I invested $50,000. Instead of getting paid back, I'm going to comp this meal. Yeah. Or you're going to comp this meal for me. I'm just going to sign off that I received it.
They're the Advocate Bobs.
Yeah, or the Intergalactic Advocate Bob.
They do all the work. Yeah.
They're here to help you through the ascension process. The only problem is you got to grift them a little bit.
Is there like a step by step that she can reference? Is that on the web? Is that on the I'm some dude?
No, this one right here is actually pretty recent. I can write one up. You know, I can.
That would be amazing.
I'm not sure if I'm able to give you the document, but I can write it up that basically outlines what happens. Maybe I will. Maybe I'll print it up, but I'll just bark out through shit and mark it, wide it out, and write what's supposed to be in there, or just write up a different one and just give it to you, and just write it up as a generic UCC one, and it's going to be written in. I'll show you what we're talking, and then I'll show you what you're talking about.
So, are you talking about the tax burden?
Yeah, that would be
are
great.
you
That'd be awesome. I'd like to see it too.
Yeah, please. Are you talking about actually changing status to do this, or?
No, I'm not talking about changing status.
Okay.
I'm just remember. I treat this. Okay, you're the individual operating that agency or person or whatever the fuck it's called. Who really cares? Okay, the way it is I'm operating this damn thing. Through this thing, I'm going to give you the usufruct interest while I'm using it, and you're going to be happy with it because you're going to get all the profits of everything I do in it.
Mm-hmm. So the idea, is it the same thing of endorsing it on the front and the back, and then doing the okay,
this just is UCCC is it's really a way to just record it. It's like a blockchain for your it's like a blockchain.
It's a notice. It's a notice.
It's a notice. That's all it is a notice, and then you have an assignment. And if you look at that definition of delivery, I keep posting on my website. Everywhere I go, I tell you the same definition of delivery. Delivery includes acceptance plus surrender. The grantee must be willing to deliver, and the grantor must be willing to deliver. The grantee must be willing to agree to receive, and it must be evidenced in some way. So the grantor, you, has already agreed to deliver by virtue of the birth certificate. The grantee is accepted to receive it. And the grantor of the interest in return, the United States, has already agreed to deliver once you deliver the interest. It creates a natural contract by the way of operational law. This is not a fucking discussion.
Well, what's the difference between doing that versus asking for the claimant, like how Mikey posted a recording of him with the open car loan, and all he did was basically ask to speak with the claimant, and
it's basically the same thing. They can't produce the claimant, they can't produce the claim.
Right.
That's really what it is. It's who's the claimant, where's the claimant. It's all the same shit.
Because a lot of people, I mean, I sometimes
I know on the site they'll argue and everything else, and I have to laugh. I'm like, it's just proof of claim. They either prove up their claim or they don't. The car dealership has to prove up the same thing. Did they give you a loan for it? And that's what it is. Where's the evidence you gave a loan? Let me see this evidence that you're not operating in bankruptcy. Where is it? Because if you're operating in bankruptcy, how the fuck can you give a loan if you're bankrupt?
Bankrupt as of when they took it off the gold standard.
I understand, but if you're bankrupt, I remember this discussion.
No, I'm asking.
I know. I remember this. I remember this discussion I had with a lawyer from DC who was I think he was getting ready to retire. He was approaching that age, and we went at it. We asked him, and he go, "Well, they're bankrupt." And he goes, "How do you know they're bankrupt?" I go, "Where the hell's my gold, silver, and title so I can complete contract?" He goes, "There you go." And he proceeded to say, now when they're in bankruptcy, to make a claim is a crime against humanity. It's unmoral. It's unethical. It's illegal. It's unlawful. It's everything. It's just the ugliest thing to do. So they're operating in bankruptcy. So how the hell do you make a loan when you're operating in bankruptcy? What did you actually loan? And if you're loaning money, how the hell can you be bankrupt? So where's the gold, silver, and title so we complete contract? And if you can't deliver it, then you agree to be usufruct because you're the one who seized it.
What do you think, Zoe? Does any of that make sense? Because she's very new to this, so I mean,
I know, and I apologize, but
No, it's no. Don't. I'm supposed to apologize for not fully understanding this stuff. So, but yeah, I don't think I really get it, which is
no,
okay.
really, what it is all you really have to do is you take the bill they give you, like you have a bill or you have a court order from them, right?
Yeah, I don't even have anything anymore. I mean, again, I just
Oh well,
I,
if you
I
can
don't
get
even know
if you can get a court order, a certified court order, or a
Mhm,
bill, or anything
mhm.
like that, all you're doing
Yeah,
is you're accepting that for value, for honor, at par value, and you're returning it in at par value. You're returning it or you're accepting it for honor, yeah, at par, and returning it for value at par,
yeah.
as consideration in exchange for settlement and for accord and satisfaction.
Uh, would this system work also for the
Upon proof,
student loan? 'Cause-
yeah, it's all the same.
okay,
All those
even though
government
it's
debt
through the
obligations,
government.
they're already discharged. They've already been sold. They've already been paid for. They're just out there circulating in the secondary and thirdary market as investment securities now.
So
Wow.
so just to recap, she's taking the front of the paper and she's writing what again?
Accepted for we write. Oh, let me pull it up here. Let me see if I can find it here real quick. Where did I put this?
Yeah, if you could post that, that'd be great.
Yeah, I got it. Let me see if I can find it here.
But I gotta tell you, Boris, you've given me a lot of ideas on how to play with
Yeah,
the
brother.
probation department and these creditors too.
I
A
mean,
lot of ideas.
that's all we
A lot of
learned.
ideas.
We don't do anything spectacular. We play around. We make a lot of mistakes, man. I'm gonna let you know that right now. We make a
But how are
lot
you
of
gonna
mistakes.
learn if you don't make some mistakes, man?
That's
Come
right.
on.
And I've had people come on the site and they want to make fun of me or tell me that my mistakes and blah blah blah. And I was like, yeah, show me a man who never made mistakes. I'll show you a man who didn't learn shit.
Right? Exactly. Exactly. In fact, I believe there was a saying that says something along the lines of, "I've learned so much from my mistakes that I plan on making more in the future."
That's right. I plan on, I do this for one reason. I don't want y'all to make the same mistakes I did. I want y'all to make all brand new mistakes.
There you go.
Oh boy,
Make some fresh shit.
can't
Make some
wait.
fresh
I
ideas.
want fresh mistakes.
Well, as it stands, like I said earlier, I've been doing some things that I don't know that anybody else has necessarily done. I've never seen or heard of anybody doing some of the stuff that I've done. So, yeah, I believe that if there's any fresh mistakes to be made, I'm looking for them right now.
Yeah. And that's how, be careful what you wish for, man, because,
Yeah,
mistakes,
well, it's not so much that I'm wishing for, it's just one of those where I'm trying stuff. I'm just
yeah.
stuff. Looking for ways to deal with issues. That's all. And I figured that I made a lot of mistakes along the way. It's about time that a few of the ideas start to actually play out, and some of them have. Particularly some of the stuff with the creditors. The only thing that hasn't worked yet is the letters that I've sent. As of yet, I haven't got the responses that I wanted, but I didn't figure that I was going to get what I wanted. I figured that I was going to get something else. Kind of one of those where I hoped for the best, expected the worst. You come up somewhere in between, you're doing okay. I have yet to come up anywhere in between, no yet. Had a lot of fun, but I haven't come up anywhere between.
Somebody's playing ping pong or something.
That's me clicking to find out where the hell I put this file.
Oh, okay.
Like I said, man, I'm sorry. I just don't know.
No. I just thought I didn't know if someone was trolling or something. Okay.
No. Where the hell is this damn thing?
You can never find it when you need it, right?
No, I'll find it like a couple days now, and it'll be all right.
Yeah, I'm that way sometimes too.
I forget where I put stuff, and that's part of why now I put a lot of times I'll put a document in a couple of different files so that I make it easier to find.
Oh yeah, you know how we got rid of, you know how we're dealing with the attorneys? We tell them we're disinclined to acquiesce to be represented by anybody from the bar. And it's like we pull out the Pirates of the Caribbean. They always want to come in and say parlay. And it's like, no, I'm disinclined to acquiesce to your request today. We did that in order. We did that in order from the court, and it just made me laugh my ass off. I'm like, no, I'm disinclined to acquiesce to this. I'm gonna need some proof of claim.
Boris,
Yes.
can I ask another question while you're looking for that document? I was curious about the topic of taxes, paying taxes, either income tax or property taxes.
All right. Well, here's what we've done. I don't know if you've listened to the Texas guys, but there's a guy named Kerry who found out that you can petition the tax court. And if you put down years, they'll do it. If you do it in a certain way, they'll do a motion to dismiss for lack of jurisdiction, and it will cover. You can put it back all the way to 2000, and then you get that and the order, and now you have a verifiable claim against the United States to IRS department and everything for unlawful collection of taxes, because the court will find out they had no jurisdiction.
Because I heard something about that charging taxes is technically unconstitutional. Is that right?
Yeah, as of their new rule, it shows that the IRS now houses where the IRS's authority is derived from. And it's under the right to collect excise taxes in the Constitution. It's no longer Article 16 or whatever the hell amendment they're using.
Okay.
You got to look at Trump's first year, Congress's first law. It's like HR 1. And that's where they put, I think that's what it's called. And that's where they put the authority of the IRS at.
Okay.
You know, and you can use proof of claim with them too. You can just write proof of claim.
Yeah, I don't have issues with taxes right now. That's fine. It's just for the future. Like, you know, I still don't understand this whole issue of, like, I understand that we don't really own a property even when you have a title for. It's more like maybe like technically maybe a title for having the right to use a property. Then, you know, so-called own the property. But basically my understanding is in the system, if you don't pay property taxes, you know, eventually they're gonna try to take that property that you're using away from you. So, you know, I was curious. It's not my current problem, but it's something that could come up in the next, you know, in the next year or two when I'm gonna try to access the use of a property, or, you know, with the system language to buy a house. So
well, here's the deal: if you can get a loan for a house, then what you do on every single signature line is you write "pay to the order of the United States without recourse." That's it. Pay to the order of the United States for recourse. And what you're doing then is you're assigning all the promissory notes and everything over the United States. And now even when they endorse them, they can endorse them actually because you pay to the order of the United States without recourse. So the United States is going to end up giving them the credit for the account. And then if you get check back from the Treasury, you just you just endorse that over to that bank, and boom, they got their money. And now everybody's happy.
So you're sending that where though?
So the bank will send it to the Treasury. They have to.
Oh, okay. So everything's the same. All you're doing is signing paid
Yeah.
in the order of the
All you're doing is sign
United
pay to
States.
the order of the United States without recourse. That way, all your promissory notes and everything,
Mm-hmm.
you know, and that's it.
Yeah.
So now you're doing it, and now you're assigning it over, and they can't stop you from doing it. It's your fucking promissory note. I can make it payable to whoever the hell I want to. As long as you get the credit, who cares? So you give them the credit. So you put, for credit to this guy, and you give them the credit, but you sign the note to the U.S. so the U.S. will buy it because it's a debt obligation of the United States. And then this guy will now they'll know who got the money. That dude.
So would they consider the so-called United States the owner of the house?
Oh,
I
the
guess
United
in that-
States is always the
Yeah,
trust.
they always are anyway, right?
The United States is the holder of the house. Basically, it's the the holder in due course or something like that. It's just there to protect property rights and stuff, and that's why you give over all the rights to it so it can protect property rights, and that's why you get the certificate. It holds all the certificates, so that way people don't bitch and complain and blah blah blah, yakety schmackety. It's nothing big, nothing deal.
So is there a way of not paying property taxes over the years?
Yeah, once you assign your usufruct interest out of the property, then the taxes don't go to you, it goes to the treasury. Because you're being taxed because that house is considered commercial property. There's profit being made in that house. That's why there was a loan on it. It was a business loan.
So
They did it on all future income derived from that property. That's what you got the mortgage on. That's what the value is. Like, how much income can this thing derive over the course of 30 years? Well, if you rented it out for whatever they're telling you, then that's how much income they're going to tax you. They're going to charge you for. So you got to make that much income using your house. That's what they're doing. They're sitting there and they're doing usury on everything. So what they do is they go out to a future value, and that's what you have to pay for. So you have to charge your brother or something like that to help you pay for it. And it's a series of charging your brothers and everything else so we can all rob each other to pay the guy before us.
Yeah, so currently I don't have a mortgage. I mean, I'm just renting. It's just more like for.
But if you get a promissory note for it, you can either, you do pay to the order of the United States, and then you flip and you can flip it over.
I don't know if
pay to the order of the account that the bank has created, and then flip it over and pay to the order of the United States on the back side.
Sure. I mean, to get a mortgage, you would have to get a loan. To get a loan, according to the system, you need to have, a pretty good credit. Plus, I think when you try to so-called buy a house, they want to see 20% down plus what I think it's like 2 or 3 years of pay stubs or something like that. So anyway, I was just curious for the future, pretty near future, what would happen with not paying property taxes.
I don't know.
Also because they're charging.
We've had, like I said, we've had people do code violations, but property taxes, you can actually go on proof of claim of who authorized this thing to be registered on the property rolls. The name of the person who under what authority and their wedding signature.
Right, and I guess I'm still trying to work out the ethics of it, because I'm still very much programmed in this.
Well, remember, if you're gonna give it over, if you're gonna sign the usufruct interest and the reversion, all that shit, over to the Treasury, then it's gonna get paid by the Treasury.
So no one's going without payment. It's just
nobody's going without payment.
But the thing is, I'm wondering.
But now here's the deal: is because it's U.S. property, they're not going to collect taxes on it, or maybe they will. They'll just have to account for all the money.
They'll have to do that with the United States.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They'll have to file out their taxes that they got X amount of payment and income.
So so it isn't just putting pay to the order of the United States without recourse on the signature. You're doing that plus on the front you're putting pay to the order of the account.
Yeah, or yeah. Well, let me see.
Okay.
I gotta see if I can find my damn thing here because we have it all written down, and I don't know. If not, I'll have to.
I'm transferring. Well, I guess my friend will. He does the YouTube channel Recovering Claimant. I'm just going to share with him the recordings I've done with I've the recordings of the lawyer and the tax collector that were in the car using Lyft as the so-called driver, and I guess I'm gonna share this with him as well. I don't know if you want it posted and edited or not, but
I don't give a shit.
Okay, cool.
So, Boris, is this also true for income taxes? For example, like, the future income I am expecting is actually not typical.
Yeah, you can say upon you have income tax based on what income. Upon proof of claim that anything I get paid in is not a loss. Because they're worthless, they're just debt obligations in the United States. That's all you have to do is ask that they're not debt obligations in the United States, because if they are, they're immune from taxation.
The future income I'm expecting is done through investment.
No. You to let them know that you've been paid in nothing but debt obligations of the United States that are immune from taxation, from calculation of it. So everything you've been paid has been paid in what? Debt obligations of the United States. All of it is exempted from taxation.
Wow, this is just so mind-blowing.
So it's not really income, right? It's just like
you can't have income.
Right.
There ain't no such thing as income. It's fucking crap.
And that exemption would be easily found in Title 31, Section, I believe it's 3124. And when they discuss obligations, that'll be found in Title 18, Section 8.
Yeah. And when they do it for computation of taxes, you'll see that they're exempt from computation. You can't use those obligations. They say you were paid in cash. No, I wasn't. I was paying debt notes to the obligations of the United States. Those are exempt from taxation. Why? Because it's all fucking loss.
Wow.
Worthless securities.
So this is true no matter what, no matter how much one so-called earns, like if I start earning $1 million a day through
No, you didn't.
Through the stock market, that's still not considered income because of what you just said?
Yeah. How are you getting paid? You're getting paid in debt obligations in the United States.
That's just crazy. Oh my God.
Tell him, Mikey.
Yeah, shit. Thank you, Boris.
Yeah.
Could it be this is part of why I've been having so much fun doing what I've been doing?
Yeah.
I mean, this is a completely life altering.
Yeah, I mean, when you start getting into it, man, you're just like, wow. Then you start making correlations you never wish you made. Like, there's some ugly shit that I never wished that I made the correlation with that I just don't want in my head. And it's fucking bad.
And what happens too a lot of times when you start really diving into this stuff, and particularly when you come across a good gold nugget, a lot of times it creates more questions than it ever answers.
So just be aware of that, Zoe, that if you start really going down this path, that you're going to end up with a lot more questions in your head than you'll ever have answered. And it's not to say that you won't have answers along the way. It's just going to create a lot more questions. That's all.
Yeah.
And that's part of what
Sure.
that's part of what continues, at least for me, what continues me to keep moving, because I have a lot of questions that I have yet answered.
And yeah, the I guess the concern was so-called making money using like forex and like the foreign exchange, which is a lot bigger than the stock market, so-called stock market, which I let Zoe in on the thing that you were saying about April 6th, and she's like, "Whoa, what? Really? It's gonna crash or whatever."
Yeah, the interesting part is the so-called crypto's going up right now. So
I heard that. Yeah.
yes,
It's up like several thousand or something, right?
yeah.
So it's going up for a crash, huh? So would the best thing be to get in right on before the 6th to sell?
Yeah, and then change everything over to money orders.
They're gonna do what?
Exchange everything over to postal money orders. That way, when everything revaluates, you won't lose any value.
Oh,
Because a postal money order today will be worth the same dollar as a postal money order 1,000 years from now.
What do you mean by postal money order?
Postal money order.
like you go to the post office and you can ask for a money order if you hand them so-called cash or do it with a credit card or whatever. They'll issue you a paper money order for that amount, and you can just hold on to it, I guess.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah.
So you take it out of the bank. You right before the 6th, you take it out, put get a big money order or a few money orders or something, and then hold on to that. After the 6th, you can put it back in, I guess. Is that what you're thinking, Boris?
No, I wouldn't do it after the 6th, after the 7th right away.
Right. Well, yeah. I mean, yeah. I don't know. However long it takes to balance it out. And...
What you want to do is, you yeah, you just wait till the new system gets all put in place.
Right.
I mean, that's really it. I mean, it's nothing big. Is that it? Oh, I found it.
Sweet.
Yay!
That's what I'm saying.
So, in regards to the issue with the so-called, title, I mean, how does that work? I mean, is it good to have a title, even though, I mean, on a spiritual level, I understand that we're not owners, right? We're just users. I get that. But from a paper system perspective, is it still good to have the so-called, title with the name on it and everything else? Or is there a way to do it differently?
What do you mean?
Let's just pretend I have, $500,000 to buy this so-called house, right? Then in the system, when you give the money, and let's just say that I don't even do a loan, I just pay it in so-called cash, right? Then usually they give you a title of ownership, right? Where it will appear, the house at a certain address, blah blah blah. It's been paid in full, and I am this so-called owner now. Which I understand it's all BS. I get that, but how does that work with using a house in the system?
Okay.
And then issue of future not making claims and all of that. It's
okay.
so
Well, here's it is. when you're done with your base contract, where you make your deal with the Treasury, you know, you're basically creating a bilateral trade agreement. That's really what you're doing. And what it is you just give over the use of fruct, you retain naked owner, and now you'll just operate normally. The only thing is someone else will be paying the bills. That's it. I mean, you'll just be operating as if you were, you know, as if you owned it or as if you had it or whatever. And when you're done using it, it automatically reverts to the Treasury, and the Treasury sells it. Unless you know you don't transfer it over to someone else who wants to use it, and the use of fruct goes with it. You know, the encumbrance. So the use of fruct Treasury. So the next guy uses it, and the use of fruct remains with the Treasury. And now when he's done, he goes over. So that's all it is. You just transfer it over to a next party. And this is all by personal choice. It's not going to be forced on anybody. It's do you choose this or do you not? And if you do, you just have to understand that the U.S. is going to get all the use of fruct. So you'll have a card or some sort of something that'll just operate, work to account for your interest.
Mm.
I don't really know. We haven't done it yet. It hasn't been done. We're not sure exactly what's going to happen with the whole transfer over, but we do know a new monetary system is coming into place because there's going to be a huge switchover in how the economy works. Because it's going to start accounting for those who wish to live in charity. So it's going to be, they got to account for that now. Hasn't been accounted for yet. Let me put this in.
So is the new monetary system gonna be comprised of various currencies, or like?
I have no real clue about all this.
Okay.
All I know is what you got is there's gonna be.
You're breaking out. You're breaking up, Boris. Can't hear you at all. Maybe you want to reboot or something, whatever you did last time. There, you're back on. You're sleeping? Can't.
No,
Oh, you okay? Here we go.
I'm here, but I couldn't hear Boris anymore.
Yeah, he's dropped his internet's dropping out. He's got to come back again. It's happened probably 3-4 times already.
Got it.
But for any of the other brothers,
all right.
Yeah, there we go. Okay.
Let me see if I upload this file to y'all. This is gonna screw me over. This is just the language that we just come up with. You can use any language you want.
Yeah, but sometimes the language is important. I'm led to believe that at certain times, there's not supposed to be any such thing as magic words, but damn if it don't seem like at certain times when you use certain words, magical things happen.
Yeah. What we do is we just do this one, and I just started putting at par. And it was really interesting, the results we got when we did it this first time. And I'm like, huh. So what you got is, we tried something, and it got a result. And I was like, look at that. They called his ass up, and they punted. They didn't want him in there because we did a conditional acceptance of the guilty, of the right to plea, of the plea deal. He was offered an opportunity to plea, so we did a conditional acceptance of that for honor that he would come in and plea, but they got to give us proof of claim once we answer our plea. And the most they can ever give is factual basis for a claim. Because that's what they do in every damn court case. If you ever heard people plead guilty, the next thing the judge, at least here in Florida, the next thing the judge does is factual basis for the claim. And I sat there and watched that and went, look at that. That's like making a police report for a stolen car and getting a check from the people who are supposedly repairing the car without ever seeing the car. They're never doing the work. And they never investigated the car, so they don't even know if it's real. They're just giving a check. And now they can take the car to another place and go get another insurance adjustment check. And now you've been paid twice. Look at that. How cool is that?
Imagine that.
Yep, imagine that.
Well, you know, it's funny. Not too long ago, one of the so-called friends is a practicing attorney at this time. He used to be one of the, he was the number 2 guy for the city of Long Beach prosecutor's office.
Yeah.
Telling him about some of what we're doing, and it kind of perked his.
You're getting muffled, Papa.
Oh, I'm sorry. Well, I was telling him what we were doing, and he came to me when I was explaining what I had learned about, the promissory notes being, or even an application being a promissory note and so on, and how these banks and financial institutions are just dealing in pretty much selling the promissory note, the security instruments, and making 4 to 5 times the amount of so-called money before you've even paid them a dime. And he pretty much confirmed, he's like, yeah, this is exactly how the super rich bankers get rich.
Yeah.
And of course, the interesting thing is this is a guy from the inside. Like I said, he was a prosecutor for the city of Long Beach. Pretty much confirmed the whole thing right there.
Yeah, man. I mean, it's not like they're hiding it. They're just like brazen about it now. They're just like,
Oh, yeah.
They're just brazen like hell because, they're like, hey, we're untouchable. And my whole thing has been, I just want to be able to do one thing, is just reach out one day and just look at one of them and just go, touch. And just go, now we know you're not untouchable. And now you know you're not untouchable. Exactly. And then while the AT&T song is playing, reach out and touch someone.
Well, the fact is, Boris, once you touched one, not only can he be touched again, but so can all the others.
Yep.
And that's the key. That's the thing that I've been constantly, and I say this to everybody, to me, the most important part of all of this isn't trying to figure out what to do to make something happen, because it seems like there's many sporadic little random things that have made things happen. I have yet to see the consistency and being able to pull it time and time again. That's what I want to see. That's what I'm searching for, is the consistency. Having something where I can just have pure continuity from one issue to the next. It's the same result each and every time. And this is something that I've always done in pretty much everything that I've ever done, every facet of the life. And particularly as a contractor, I've always I built a reputation on being able to get it done each and every time and having consistency in doing so. And I that's what I need to have here too. And I will find it somehow, some way.
And this is the only thing we found that actually produces somewhat of a consistency. And
that's part of why I've been listening so intently, because you are. Between that and Badology, and that's the thing that stuck with me too, is with Badology, is I've been able to apply it to so many different applications and had consistent results time and time again.
It's always consistent, because they can never answer, and then when they don't answer, there's no justification for their actions.
Exactly.
And it really just eats at conscience. So the only thing people don't is people who don't have conscience, or people who are ignoring theirs, are the one, there's this violation of the golden rule. It's like you're going against the golden rule, so therefore, the way you're treating others must be the way you must want to be treated. And it's not me that's going to do it. It's going to be the system itself that's going to do it, because that's the natural operation of law.
Right. And the nice thing is the way the system is set up It doesn't matter if it's somebody that's allegedly operating within the system or not. It sucks all comers. It will take in anybody, and it doesn't. It's indiscriminate in that fashion.
That's why I have to laugh, because people think a status is a piece of paper meaning anything, and it's not. It's by your fruits. How do you operate? You know, how do you control yourself? Do you govern yourself, or do you need to be governed?
Exactly.
Do you understand what that means?
Yeah.
And that's really what we're being taught, you know, and it's a lesson. We all have to learn it. We all forgot our way. We all partook of this shit at one point. Nobody's innocent. We all did it. You know. Now we can change it as long as we admit we're all the problem, man. You know, now we have something to change. It's ourselves.
Yep. It all starts with the guy staring in the mirror.
Yeah. That's it.
Sit right there. Until people figure that part out, nothing will change.
Yeah, I tell everybody, it's like, you know, I wasn't one of those God people and knew the Bible. In fact, didn't read it, and I was doubtful, man. But along the way, it led me back to the Father.
That's what happened to me, Boris.
That's what it is.
I've been there too. I'm in that same path.
You know, and now I'm back, and it's like, dude, it feels just that. It just feels like He's filled me full of the energy, and I can see the connections. And what it is a frequency. That's what reveals the law, is the frequency of the thought of the heart. And once you accept that Christ frequency, that Christ knowledge, that Christ consciousness, or whatever, and you live it and you breathe it, and it becomes part of you, the frequency then speaks everything else. I firmly believe that.
Yeah, it's like, I think Jordan Maxwell says something like that. That you now you're in tune with God, and you can see the lies everywhere, and you can see where it's going.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you just look at it, and it leads me down all those paths, man. It's not like I'm out there struggling to find this stuff. It's, you know, we need an answer. You know, something's happened, and we've done something. It's like, all right, what next? And then within it, you know, we just let it go. You know, we discuss, we go let it go, and then within 24 hours, the answer's there.
Well, that's the thing I've been seeing too in myself, which seeing how everybody is seeing and saying the same thing. Mm-hmm. It would seem that there's an awful lot of consistency in what we're experiencing, because I'm seeing and experiencing some of the same stuff.
And I just keep looking for those people who are just doing this. And, you know, I put the website up. It's been built. The only thing working on it now is the forums. The whole site moves off nothing. It's no files are on it, but everything is still there. You know, it's fucking rare. It's just hilarious, man. It's like divine intervention said, "Hey, I want this site to be here." You know, because we did. I deleted everything, man. I deleted everything after a veiled threat, and we deleted it. And 3 days later, it came back up fully functional. I was like, "Whoa, okay, well, we'll just leave it at that."
Oh, is that why the font is messed up?
That's why the fonts are messed up and the web pages. So if you find a web page, you should just put in there that, you know, this web page is bad or that web page is bad. And I got all the web pages here at home, and I'll just upload that to the unreadable web pages post. That's why that post exists.
You can fix it?
I can't fix it. I can't access the files anymore. There's no files to access. They were all deleted. Now there's no way for me to access even the computer. So my account is no good. There's no files left. I don't know how it's operating. I couldn't tell you.
Well, it does say on the bottom here, all works herein are licensed under a Creative Commons Attribution CC for 33, it seems, and another CC for 33. Interesting.
Yeah, well, a lot of those, two of those things are tracker tags, so I know who's been reading what pages. Like, I was like interested in finding out who's going where on my site, so I put tracker tags on everything and use Google and another place to verify it. And I just like seeing how many people come and go, and And
So you can access that.
it's around 200. It's about 175 to 180 a day, which ain't bad. You know, there's like 30 or 40 new people that come by every day, and I'm like, yeah, that's pretty cool. You know, I'm not out there advertising it or anything.
Right, right.
If people are searching, they'll find it.
It's kind of the same. I remember a while back hearing Jordan Maxwell in an interview talking about how the reason why there's two Jordan Maxwell sites out there is because the original one got taken over by the people that he hired to build the website.
Yeah.
Allegedly, they set up, it kind of had a contract in place, but and this is where I found some interesting stuff about Jordan at this point. Is that he said he really understand contract business for such an educated, intellectual man to not understand contracts and business too well. Seemed a little bit. Then, according to him, he lost the original one through contractual terms and conditions, and now he can't get it back, and that's why he set up the other one, and that's why there's now two out there.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm gonna end up taking. I think I got Law Boris is coming up for renewal, and I have a feeling when I renew that one, I'm also gonna start building a site that's just gonna be this contracting way, this way to contract.
You said it's Law of Boris?
Yeah, the Law Boris. Oh, Law Boris is actually derived from a Russian from a Russian time in the 1600s that
.com?
Russia was on the brink of disappearing, of being
.com?
decimated.
.com?
Huh?
.com?
Yeah, lawboris.com.
Okay.
That goes back to the I Am Some Dude site right now, but Law Boris comes from Russian times, 1600s, when Russia was facing almost extinction annihilation with the boyars, who were the nobles at the time. They were having horrible harvests and shit like that, so they were canceling contracts and basically kicking all the people who were working the lands off the lands without any pay or food, and it was causing cannibalism and all kinds of other shit. And this guy named Boris Godunov, or whatever his name was, lost his cousin or his nephew in a riot or something, and he got pissed, so he organized all the peasants, and they led a revolution against the boyars, which caused the Tsar to implement the usufruct, or the old Roman usufruct. And what it did, it bound the boyars to having to provide, food, shelter, clothing, and food and everything else to the workers of the field, regardless of the harvest results. So it basically saved Russia. And then over the years, the Tsars, used it to influence and power, blah, blah, blah. And then you come up to Nicholas, who I still believe kind of brought it over, kind of convinced the United States to use it during the Civil War with, with certain things, with the Banking Act and stuff like that, because I think they were facing the same problems in Russia as they were United States.
From the fallout from the dead of the war, you mean?
Yeah. No. This is around Civil War times.
Yeah, the Civil War. I mean.
Yeah.
But wasn't that some of the same stuff though that brought Tsar Nicholas down though as well?
Yeah. Well, yeah, because he went against the interests that were propping up Russia. And he did it willfully. I know he did it willfully because I think what they did is they transferred something over to U.S. at the same time. And I'm not sure, but I believe they did it, and they introduced this concept and put it into place over here using the Banking Acts, because the 64 Banking Act, basically the United States bought everything anybody does with their labor and their time. And but nobody knew really what was going on, and Lincoln was assassinated before it could be fully implemented. So what they did is they got Lincoln to they put it in place, and then boom, they stopped it, stopped the United States from using it, and then immediately went to bankrupt the United States over the next 70 years again to put the Banking Act in place, and then they declared bankruptcy over the country. I think that's how it worked. But yeah, the law of Boris comes from that because that's what they called it, the law of Boris.
Right.
So it's from Russia. I thought that was just hilarious. I thought it was fucking hilarious, man. I found it like 2 years ago, and I just started laughing. Sorry, I was like, no way, man. So this law the law of Boris has been waiting since the 1600s for another Boris to come and activate it.
That's fucking awesome, Boris.
400 years later, brother. 400
Yeah.
years later.
Yeah, 400 years later, another 400, baby. 500, you know. 400 years later, man. Look at that. Another one.
So wait a second. So what happened with you just went out to do your own thing from the bat stuff, or?
Yeah. I mean, I just stopped talking to everybody because it was all the same shit. And we were just asking questions.
Where's the claimant?
And nobody wanted to do anything. It's just asking questions and what if this and what if that. I go, if and buts were candy and nuts, we'd all be happy and gay. And I'm like, I'm done, man. I need something more. I need to know why. Why does all this work? That was the ultimate question I had: is why did that Ford why did that do what it did with the four corners? Why did that happen? Why did this happen?
Right.
So I went off and did whys. I wasn't asking what is this. I went, why does this do this? And this is where it all led me.
Okay.
And it's funny because the scheme to defraud is what I was charged with back in 2004 or 5. And I'm right back to scheme to defraud. The only thing is I see who's doing it now.
Yeah. Exactly.
So you're gonna take Florida's corrupt bureaucratic system.
Well, we're gonna do what we have to do. We're gonna do what we're doing because I got to help these guys, save their ass, because they're getting their lives torn apart, and these guys aren't stopping. And this guy has something in appeals, and they went off and sold off his debt to a third-party debt collector already. I'm like, you guys are just fucking assholes.
Yeah.
It's just you guys don't even understand when you put an appeal, you're supposed to stop all actions, you fucking morons. That's what your rules are. You're not even following your own damn rules. You're so used to running this administrative shit that you don't even follow your own rules anymore. You just feel like you do whatever you want. And I'm like, damn, man, I thought the World War II was fought against Hitler, but what it created was Fantasia. It made Hitler the broom in Fantasia.
Right.
And now you have 1,000 million little fucking Hitlers everywhere.
Wow.
And that's what it did, dude. It just brought us into Fantasia. It just brought us into this imaginary fucking world of bullshit.
Operation Paperclip?
I don't know what it is, man. Operation Bullshit.
But you're planning on expanding from these 20 lawsuits or whatever to hope or you're hoping to clean house over there.
What we're hoping for is we have 3. We have one that's coming in. I'm going in with them on Thursday, and that's just a mortgage thing. But we're gonna see what happens. And then we got the other guy has got he wants to have things ready because he wants to get it in there for the depositions, which is happening in the next couple of days. But he doesn't need it for that because if the one girl shows up, she's screwed. If she doesn't show up, she's screwed. So, because they already got her knowing she's lying, they got all the emails that show that she was conspiring. So if she says no, she's screwed. If she says yes, she's screwed. She's just screwed. So we know she ain't showing up. She knows she probably knows that we're on her. And it wouldn't make any. It's just gonna But what it does, it just makes everybody's case all fall flat on its face and shows everybody that what we're doing, y'all accuse me of unlawful practice of law, but it's that unlawful practice you're accusing me of that basically saved this guy's ass from your mill machine because you guys aren't doing your damn job.
Imagine that.
Actually, you're doing your duty. You ain't doing your duty. You're doing your job, not your duty. Because you're mismanaging this shit for private gain, but your duty
they're
is
going
your
through
duty.
the paces, but they're not
Yeah.
really doing what needs to be done.
Yeah, they're just going through the paces like, oh, we did this and that. No, you didn't. You didn't investigate anything. And how do we know? Because nobody called anybody we told you to. No, not one phone call, not nothing, man. You just relied on the testimony of one chick.
Right. The
Well, yeah, and at that point, it was just pure assertion.
Yeah, it was just insanity. Then he got arrested. Then he got all his equipment taken. He got everything. I mean, it was just horrible for him. You know, and then on top of that, they sick child support on him, and child support went after fucking child support for a child who's 26 years old now.
what?
Yeah.
Oh my goodness.
After we started doing all this, he suddenly got attacked by child support, and the attorney and the fiscal services of Florida went after child support payments for a child who's 26 years old.
Oh,
And him and his wife both went, "What the hell is going on?" His ex-wife went, "What the hell's going on?" She goes, "I didn't authorize it." He goes, "Neither did I." And I told him, I go, "You walk your ass in there and tell you both fucking don't agree with this, and you're gonna." You know, and if they can't answer proof of claim, and because we did the commercial, we did the redemption on them and everything, and nobody answered. So they both went in there and said, "We don't authorize this shit." As the mother, I don't authorize this. As the father, I don't authorize this. And if y'all continue, we're gonna have your bar cards. And they fucking dropped it quicker than shit. So that was done intended to harass.
Right.
Because what we're doing down here in the counties, they decided to stick this on them out of the blue. I'm like, come on, man, you're coming out to child support for someone who's 26 years old. Really? Really? I mean, it's just not obvious. It's not intended to harass.
Right.
Because y'all are pissed because because we have you under contract here and you're trying to absolve yourself of some liability.
Right.
Because you're not answering anybody.
Well, if you okay.
It's like Boris kind of remind me of that Man of Steel Superman. You know, he's all like, "Why am I so different from them?" And then L says, "The only way to know how strong is to keep testing your limits."
Yeah. Yeah, and that's what we're doing. We just keep going through, and we just keep asking proof of claim. That's all we ask for. That's it. And we've been accused of harassing and everything else. I go, how is it harassment to ask for proof of claim?
I'll tell you, if anyone, a while back when I was dealing with somebody calling themselves a creditor or a third-party debt collector, I forget. Actually, it was a third-party debt collector, and I kept asking them to verify who they said they were. And I went up the ladder up like 3 pay scales or something like that, and the last person that I talked to, said something to the effect of, because I kept on them, I wouldn't let them pass the front door. It's like, well, you got to verify who you say you are before I'll even talk any so-called business with you. And this woman says, well, we're done verifying who we say we are, but it's the law that you have to verify who you are. And I said, well, what about my law that says that I don't do business without somebody that I don't know who they are? She says to me, well, if you call back before I've blocked you, it will be considered harassment. I said, oh, that's hilarious. So you're going to call me saying that I owe something to somebody, but you won't even verify who you are, and you're going to consider my questioning that?
harassment. Have fun. Have a good
Yeah.
day.
That's all right. That reminds me of another call I had, that I had someone call up and say they needed to verify information. And they go, well, I need to verify your name. I'm like, all right, what information do you have on record? Well, she's like, I need you to give me your name. I go, no, you said you needed to verify my name. I accepted your offer to verify the information, so what name do you have on file? I go, if you want me to verify means you have information, you give to me, and I say yes or no, that's correct. That's what verification means. And she goes, well, I need you to give me your name. I go, no, we had a contract where you were going to verify information, not me give it to you. So, what information do you have on file? And she's like, I can't give it to you. I go, then how can I verify any information if you can't give it to me?
It's like almost like the law of reversal. You're just reversing.
Yeah,
Exactly.
because that's what they did. They called to verify information. I said, all right, what information you got on file? Well, I can't give it to you. Well, how can I verify it if you can't give it to me?
Well, see, sir, when you give it to us, then I can verify that is you.
Well, you didn't call for that. You called to verify information. So what information you have on file, I'll verify it if you tell me what it is.
Well, I'll tell you another funny one. I had this guy, kind of the same thing, third-party debt collector for a buddy that I helped get rid of a so-called car loan, kind of. He did an A for V, and we got it out of the hands of the bank. But while we were getting it out of the hands of the bank, basically getting it charged off, they actually put it to a third-party debt collector while we were in the process of trying to deal with it. And the third-party debt collector calls me up a couple of times. The last time I hear from him, I still, same thing, won't let him get past the front door. I'm asking him to verify who he says he is. And this is the last time, after several calls, he, with a tremble in his voice where he almost sounds like he's about to cry, he says, what is it that you're wanting from me, my driver's license or my Social Security? I asked him, brother, why would it be up to me to know what kind of mechanism you should have in place to verify who you say you are? And he says, why do we have to keep playing these games? I asked him, brother, do you think this is a game? He says, no. I said, then why did you bring it up? He hung up right then. I haven't heard back from him. This has been fucking months.
Yeah. I ain't have fun with these guys because they can never provide any proof of claim. All they can do is threaten you with legals. And it's like, all right, fine, but I'm gonna let you know, this is the way you wanted it.
Yeah, pretty much.
Your remedy is just provide proof of claim, and I'll go ahead and do whatever you ask. You have to provide proof of the tort or the contract or whatever the hell we agreed to.
There it is.
Hey, Mikey. Why don't you tell him about the black card? Or ask.
Well, you asked already. Go ahead.
Hey, Boris, what do you think of the black card? So-called.
A bowl of porridge.
A bowl of porridge? Wait, what?
Say that again?
A bowl of porridge.
What does that mean?
It's what Esau traded his inheritance for. A bowl of porridge.
So it's worthless?
It's just a bowl of porridge. It's always got something tied to it. Because everybody who gets it has to sign non-disclosure agreements, so they're not free, are they? They just entered into a new contract.
It's a different contract.
Just a different contract.
So it would be much better to go the route of
a different contract for better slave conditions.
I gotcha. Yeah. See, that's
longer chains in a more comfortable cage.
Yeah, because the way that they present it, it's like this alluring, elusive, card that you really want, but it's so hard to get. It's only given to the most amazing, people. But then that tells me, the idea of the inversion would be that means that you can do it with anything else, really, any credit card, so-called, or any whatever account, I guess,
Yeah.
and that
Well, it also
that
it's
it's
also
another slave thing.
if you have to operate it in the shadows and with secrecy,
Might that
then
tell you something?
yeah, then what you have is you're automatically operating in the dark.
Right.
Yeah.
But then again, would that be the same thing as any private way to settle a matter, so called, or?
No, because everything should be operated. You should be able to operate everything in the light because it should never harm.
Right.
So therefore, if they're operating in the dark, it's causing harm.
Okay.
Because all that shit, it's gonna cause them harm. You watch, they're all gonna get screwed. They're not gonna have it. They're gonna sell their inheritance for whatever these securities provide, and in the end, they're not gonna have anything when they're done. It's gonna
Who's
be
they? They are the
whoever's
one.
using these securities.
Uh, uh, uh.
It's all gonna come back due because all the wealth is an illusion. Remember, when you're dealing with all this, the dollar bill is the only one authorized to be in circulation. Everything else is a derivative of the dollar. So $5 is 1/20th of a dollar, right? In the reality of things. So $10 is 1/10 of a dollar. $20 is 1/20th of a dollar. $5 is actually 1/5. Sorry. So it's
I have not
1/5,
heard this.
1/10, 1/20th, 1/100th, 1,000th, 1,000,000th, 1,000,000,000th. So every one of these things is all an illusion of wealth because everything is all derived from the dollar, and it's all hypothecated against the dollar.
So in reality, every increment is smaller, not larger.
Exactly.
Well, yeah, and that actually makes sense though, because since and if we're talking in terms of a Federal Reserve note, it's a promissory note, so that would make sense that everyone would get smaller.
Yeah, but the dollar is the only one authorized by law to exist, and it's $1 for every man, woman, and child on the census. That's why they do census. That's because that's what the Federal Reserve authorizes is the dollar. All that other money is interbank transfers.
Do you have this code, the citation for the? For...
The interbank transfers is like 31371B-1. I think it is. Don't quote me on it because I'm doing it. I'm trying to remember it.
Yeah.
That's the one where it shows interbank transfers. But I know if you search the Title 12, you'll see that the $1 bill is the only one really in authorized circulation.
Wow. This is
And
crazy stuff.
and it's limited to it was limited to 300 million, but I think it's been raised depending on the census.
But wouldn't that be a Treasury note, not a Federal Reserve note?
Yeah, when you're looking at the $1 bill, it looks different than the fives and everyone else. It's printed different too. It's all different.
The format.
Yeah,
Hey, yo, B-Man,
everything is
I'm in
different about
Europe,
it.
right? What's that?
Everything's different. All the other ones are basically, different. The only difference between the other ones are the face designs and stuff like that. But the dollar bill is actually, looks a lot different. I mean, it feels it. I mean, it just, but it's the source. It's the source of all the monies, and that's by law. That's all there is. So when you collapse everything and back down, all your money will collapse down to 330 million.
333 there again. How come that? Why is that?
330 million at the time because that was the census of how many people. So it's $1 for every man, woman, and child on census. So the more people they have here in census, the more dollars they can put into circulation, which gives them more hypothecated currency to hypothecate against.
Mm-hmm.
And that's another reason why they want to do it. So pretty soon they're gonna count all get rid of all the illegals off the rolls, and that'll recall a lot of the derivatives in the market.
A lot of that is though is that presuming that QAnon is something other than controlled opposition.
Well, I also have been. That's been my long-term thought for a long time about the dollar. About once I saw that it was basically $1 for every man, woman, and child. I knew that everything else was hypothecated, and I knew that the more people you have on census, the more dollars can be put in existence, which means more hypothecation can happen. So that's how you expand wealth. That you just keep increasing the base, with all the $1 per man, woman, and child that you put on the rolls. At least that's what I always equated it to. And I knew that one day that what they're going to do is everything that comes down and comes back, it all comes back down when they reevaluate, it would come down to 330 million or something like that, because of the nature of the way everything is. It's all hypothecated from $1. So the only thing I can go back to is $1.
I see a pattern of the 33s constantly.
Yeah.
What were you saying, Larry? You're in New York, so-called New York. Larry, is Larry there? Says he's here.
I don't know.
Larry.
But anyway, guys, I'm gonna get out of here. I'm gonna go to bed. Been out there.
Hey, Boris.
I'm exhausted.
Thank you, brother.
Yeah.
It's been a while. I haven't heard from you, but I'm glad you chimed in. I'm my bad for waking your ass up, but
That's all right.
it was appreciated.
Now I got all the information out, and you got it recorded. So
you got all of it, right?
Thank you very much,
I see how many people actually give a shit, and listen. So who cares?
It's awesome, man. Really appreciate it. Is it okay to add on Skype?
Yeah.
And okay, cool.
Yeah.
Awesome.
I don't answer all the time because I'm usually doing other things, but we're getting to the point where it's just gonna be hectic here. So we're gonna find out what's gonna happen with everything, and I'm hoping that now that they got evidence of everybody lying down there, man. I mean, it's just gonna break loose everything down there, because everybody just acted against everything and nobody investigated shit. And now we know exactly how to handle the other case we're dealing with, where nobody investigated anything. So now we know what to say and what to do, and it's just going to be hilarious to watch. We got to put an answer into appeals court anyway, so we're going to put an answer in shortly.
No.
They tried to designate. It's funny.
Fuck, you're breaking up.
Damn it.
What? I could barely hear you, man.
Yeah, it's break. We're losing you again, Boris.
We're gonna come back with their investigation.
Hold on, Boris. Can you come back real quick just to finish that sentence off? Just finish it off. It's like we can't hear you.
Yeah, y'all broken up. Someone keeps muting all these things, or what? What the heck's going on?
No, I muted you by accident, bro.
Oh, okay.
All right. So basically, in the appeals case, they issued a final order. We took it into appeals as per the rule, and we went and put the brief in there. They responded with, you didn't follow the rules of citing and stuff like that. Like they want to become English grammar teachers, and I basically came back with, no, man, this is bull. You're really gonna come back with rules of grammar, and you really think you're gonna do something, man? I mean, come on, man. And like you're over here not writing proof of claim, and you're calling a sovereign citizen, and you're doing all this shit, and there's no legislative authority for it. You're trying to pass counterfeit bills of attainder, because that's what it is. Calling him sovereign citizen is trying to pass a counterfeit bill of attainder, and that's our bill of attainder is illegal. So a counterfeit one is double illegal. You know. And
Did you drop out again?
Yeah, it sounds like a bad connection.
Okay.
Anyway, I gotta get.
Yeah, me too, man. I've been so exhausted like most of this, but it's been amazing. I guess he's trying to talk. I can't hear him. I don't know.
Yeah, he's trying, but it's not coming through.
Yeah, no, I don't hear anything. I don't know if you want to drop out, drop back in. It sounds like crap.
Yeah, he just dropped out.
Yeah, he just dropped out. I don't know if he. Yeah, he's coming back. Okay.
all right.
Hey.
So every time something pops up from the chat or something, it screws everything up.
Oh, okay, I see.
I don't know if it's my computer, but anyway, yeah. So they came in with the grammar teacher lesson, and I came back with whatever, and you're doing this. You can't provide proof of claim, so I don't know what the hell you're just using this to cover your tracks and delay the legal process. And so they came back with the statutory shit, and we're going to come back. You're instigating litigation because you were given 3 affidavits from people who rebutted it, and you still maintained an action based on the word of one woman without any investigations.
Wow.
Yep.
Wow.
It's crazy.
Yep. So we'll have the narrative for that here shortly, and that's the veterinary, and then the other guy is. I mean, it's just all kinds of nastiness down here, man. I mean, these guys got raked over the coals when they did all this.
Sounds like it.
I like it.
And the problem with the Florida one, with the veterinary one, is it's actually the federal people doing it, because the veterinary boards all go up to federal, are all part of the federal government licensing, are all controlled at the federal level through the Department of Labor. So it's actually the federal government coming in through the state government to make all these claims, and they initiated a federal case to create a state case, and it's all convoluted shit. So it's going to go all the way up to the top. They got a medical mafia, well, they also have an animal medical mafia. All right, guys, I'm gonna get out of here.
All right, Boris. You have a good night, good morning, wherever you're at.
Yeah.
It's been beautiful.
Yeah, it's been awesome, man. I appreciate it, brother.
Hi, guys.
All right, love you, Boris.
Yeah.
Take
Thank
care.
you very
Bye,
much.
man.
Bye, Boris.
Take
Bye.
care.
Hey, have a good night, brothers. I don't know how I stayed up
What do
as
you
long.
mean? What do you mean, Dominic? The night's barely starting.
Oh my gosh, you're crazy, man. You and your
Nah,
9-hour call.
It's
Hey.
one, nigga.
brother, it's actually 10. It's been a 10-hour call actually. 6 hours
one?
right here. No,
This
this one and plus the other one connected together. Remember how we were in the other call with the bat earlier?
Yeah. Oh,
that
that's
was
right.
that was 10 hours, bro. That we
No
broke the new
freaking
record.
way.
Yesterday was
Oh
9
my
hours. Hey, but unlearning fucking every day. That's pretty cool, learning new
Heck
shit.
yeah.
Learning, and I find that productive. So that's why I rather sit here, and fucking,
Heck yes. I love it.
fuck. Tomorrow, let's see if we can break 11 hours.
Oh man, you're crazy.
Tomorrow,
man.
well, actually later today, I'm going to say in about 11 hours, it's going to be lighten up fun, because that's when the so-called PO is supposed to come back around,
Oh,
And
he's coming by.
oh yeah, and I'm gonna do like Boris said. I'm gonna accept the offer on proof of claim,
Yeah. See,
and
Yeah,
and
yeah,
and just let it ride out, you know. But that's kind of what I've already done. That's some of what was basically in the letters. Is, you know, where the fuck is the real party in interest? You know, the
right,
claim. The
right,
same thing, same shit. You know, they
right,
haven't
right.
been able to produce that, and at every step of the way, I've pretty much been still on that same path. Who's
Yeah,
claiming that? When the fuck can I talk to that person?
right,
So,
right.
anyway,
Exactly.
brother, I'm out. Godspeed. Love y'all.
Hey, love you guys.
later on, Dominic and
Hey,
Bob.
you too, man. Hey, good to be on. Thanks for
Yeah.
inviting.
Yeah. I'll talk to you tomorrow or whenever.
Okay, man. Have a good night.
Hey, it should be fun tomorrow. We're gonna have a fun call tomorrow, actually.
Heck yeah.
Chime in.
Heck yeah.
All right,
We'll call Ivan. We'll try to call Ivan, and
well,
hopefully.
I'm actually trying to get Clint Richardson and probably Robert Menard on the call.
Yeah, but man, yo, can give Batman like a I don't know, like some herbal tea or something before he gets on with these guys or something, man. Like like some chamomile. Send him some
Asshole, the
chamomile.
trick is getting him earlier in the day where he's not as drunk.
Okay.
That could be the trick. Yeah, that could be it.
Well, hey,
The
back
worse
ball is
he gets
4
drunk,
o'clock.
the more he's a fucking prick. And the more
Right.
he just interrupts and just jumps down your throat. Like,
That's
Yeah.
actually how it happened with Clint. I guess it was like at like 11 or 12 or something like that. And yeah, actually that makes sense. So okay, so hey, if Mark replies back, were you on, Larry, when we were talking about Mark Stevens getting him on with Bat?
no, man, I've been in and out all day, bro.
Oh, okay,
No,
yeah. Well, we were
sorry.
talking like Bats was like he was pretty riled up because I mentioned something about talking to him, and he's like, yeah, get this a-hole on here. I'm gonna tell him about how he's like screwing all these people and taking all their money. I'm like, maybe this is not a good idea right now. Like, I want to see him in a back room. I want to see him in a back alley. Oh, he better not meet me back there.
Well, Carl, I'm trying to get a hold of Carl Lentz because he just got back on again. So I'm trying to see if I get a hold of him also.
For some reason, he's nice with him. He's totally he's like a.
You heard Batman versus Carl Lentz?
Yeah, that one just went around and around and around with like question after question.
And I mean, that's how it is. The one guy's defense, the one guy's offense. The
Right.
one guy's pro claims, the other guy's pro not making claims.
Yeah, but he
Fucking
okay.
hilarious. So when
Yeah,
you
it was
put
pretty funny.
kryptonite and anti-kryptonite together, it's like they just dissolve each other. And they just stare at each other in their eyes and like, oh, you have such beautiful eyes. Like,
Pretty much. It'll be interesting. I think if it can get past 5 minutes, I hope. Because I mean, anyway, yeah. Try to get it. Okay, so the aim is basically Mark Stevens on at 4 o'clock. Early.
Look, you guys, every time you do YouTube things, all these people put their name into Skype in that top search thing. Skype has it's not the best anymore. It used to be a lot better, but it has a search engine where it's not limited to just searching what's on your friends list. It'll search all of Skype. So put a motherfucker's name in there, and it might.
About how?
Lots of times it'll pop up. Look like somebody lots of times will mention that, oh, my name is blah, blah, blah. Put that shit in Skype and see if it pops off. A lot of people, they'll correlate their Skype handle to their like YouTube channel name. So, be creative. Look at what you're looking at. If you like the content or like what's going on, you want to meet more of these people, do something like that. Look at the thing and try to be detective work. You know what I'm saying? Try to pinpoint anything he says in the thing. Any information, personal information you can use to find them. Location is helpful because then sometimes you might have like 3 or 4 options on Skype of the same name. But if you know the nigga's from California or Canada and everyone else is coming from Taiwan, to click on the one that says California. So
who are you talking about searching for?
Just saying anybody, because you guys seem like you guys are on the prowl. Like let's fucking interact with as many people as we can. Get exchange of ideas, exchange of you guys are doing searches in the world like. Most of these cats are within like range. You know, Carl Lentz. We all know somebody that knows Carl Lentz. You know, somebody down the road. Let's say Boris, at least. We all know Boris, and Boris knows Carl Lentz. At least, you know, there's some kind of. But with these other motherfuckers that no one really has any connections to, and you might be interested in interacting with them, and they're not necessarily putting themselves out there. I'm not on Facebook or anything. You guys most likely are. You can do searches like that and shit. Put their names in Facebook. Okay. Anyway, I'm just volunteering that. I know you guys did not do anything.
Wait. Are you saying that the names up here only come up as DS or D something, DO in here? Or can you see it?
No, if I click on your profile and all that, I could see it.
You can see it. Oh, okay, cool. Okay. And Boris was Nightwing.
Yep.
Like Robin. Okay.
Hey, it's funny how it all started with that fucking piece of paper I posted.
I know. Yeah, man.
Hey, fucking that shit was one. I'm not gonna lie, that shit I found that interesting. I was like, what is this shit?
Yeah, no, that was great, man.
A piece of paper with the state saying somebody was asking. I found that cool. I was like, that's cool.
Yeah, it's pretty cool stuff. Maybe you could get Ivan in tomorrow.
Yeah, I was thinking about that. I was gonna call him today, but I was like, fucking everybody's leaving. I might as well just. But yeah, you know what, Ivan, next one.
Ivan Drago.
Yeah, we haven't spoken to that guy in a cool minute.
Long time. Yeah. All right, guys. Well, hope you have a blessed night. Really good call.
Yeah, that was good. All right, chat on, bro.
Hey, peace, man.
Okay. Is it over? Is this shit's over, right?
After almost 10 hours, bro.
Yeah, bro. All right, man. Easy out there, bro.
All right, bro. Everybody take care. Love you guys.
Peace.
Ciao.